What's up everybody, MadRabbit here. Welcome to another video. Today we're playing DCUO and we're going to go over the best ICE DPS loadout at the moment on DCUO. Alright, so stay tuned and let's get to it. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the loadout first, and then we'll go ahead and explain the trees. Your main loadout, you're going to be using Wintry Tempest, Cold Snap, Ice Bash, Ice Elemental, Arctic Gust, and Reflection. What you're mainly going to be doing is clipping Wintry Tempest, Cold Snap, and Ice Bash along with Reflection together as soon as you enter combat, and that'll give you the opportunity in time while these are on cooldown to spam Arctic Gust exactly 4 times before these come off cooldown. Now, it'll be one rotation where you will include Reflect, and then the next rotation you won't include it, but in the following one you will. So every other rotation you're going to go ahead and include Reflect. It'll give you a shield while you're in melee distance of doing damage of bosses and adds. It'll reflect damage back, so it'll make sure it gets that DPS up. And basically, this activates your advanced mechanic in Ice. And Ice's power interaction is Frostbite. You inflict Frostbite with Wintry Tempest, and your buff is Ice Bash. Cold Snap grants chill effects as well, but mainly the Frostbite is going to be used to make sure that Arctic Gust hits like a ton of bricks. Now, as far as the Supercharge goes, the reason we're using Ice Elemental over Blizzard is because when you pop Ice Elemental, not only do you have a loadout within it and you can pop some additional powers to do some additional damage, but when you come back and switch back to your form, because you're basically using it to go into the form and come back into your normal form, because when you come back with like these high-ass procs, crazy crits, and you get massive numbers coming off of your Arctic Gust when you go through regular rotation. And I'll explain how to go ahead and use that to the most effectiveness later on in the video, but for now, that's the loadout. Let me go ahead and show you the loadout within Ice Elemental. Within Ice Elemental, you're going to be getting Snow Devil, Bitter Winds, and of course your return to normal, so you can go back to your normal state. Now, in some situations, which I'll explain later, you may want to pop both of these before returning, or just returning back to your normal state. Reason being, once you pop these powers in Ice Elemental form, you will aggro bosses, and in DPS, they'll go ahead and one-shot you. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright, and moving on to the trees and the storm trees for the ice powers, you're going to go all the way down to Wintry Tempest in the middle, and on the right hand side all the way down to Snow Devil. These will grant you all the powers that you'll need, Snow Devil and Bitter Winds being within the Ice Elemental, and from here you're going to be using Wintry Tempest, which is going to inflict your Frostbite. Make an Arctic Gust, like I said, hit like a ton of bricks. Alright, in your Cryogenics tree, you're basically going to go straight down and get Frost Snipe here, or you can get Snowballs really just to go ahead and access these in the lower level. You're going to get Cold Snap, Ice Bash, Reflection, and Ice Elemental. You'll be using all of these. Cold Snap, make sure you get this if you're in the lower levels early on, because with Cold Snap, especially if you're starting the game off, this is how you're going to activate your AM along with your Ice Bash, and as soon as you can get Arctic Gust, put it into your loadout, because that's what you're going to be doing. At first in the game, you're not going to be able to reach. Let me show you this again. If you're just starting off, you're not going to be able to reach Wintry Tempest, so your first power interaction is going to be Bitter Winds. That's the one that you're probably going to get to first. So in your loadout, you're going to have Bitter Winds instead of Wintry Tempest, but try to get everything else as I've shown you. Alright, back on track. So I showed you the Cryogenics tree, right? And the Storms trees, and now for iconic powers, you're going to get Weapons Expert and Tactical Genius. And just because, you know, you can go ahead and throw in Robot Sidekick, if you're experienced enough, you'll know when to throw it in and what powers to swap out. But, you know, don't take out your main meat and potatoes. I'll tell you that much. Maybe Reflection can be one you can swap out if you know you're gonna stay at range. Talking about range, if you need to have a range move in your loadout because the range demands it, you're not really gonna spec out like this. You'll still be able to go ahead and get, hold on one second here, and get Ice Elemental, but I don't suggest spending these 3 points here because you'll need them for Avalanche. Avalanche is going to be basically the move that you're going to replace with Arctic Gust if you need to go range for Ice DPS. But mainly you can stick with Arctic Gust if you know where to stand, if you know the safe distance to be at, and Arctic Gust has a pretty good distance. We'll cover that later on in the video. So just stay around and let's move on to the next section. Now, as far as skill points go, you're basically going to focus on might. At first, you're going to focus on your weapon trees, on your crits, right? Your critical attack damage and your critical attack chances. Once you get that, you're going to move on to the secondary row, where you're going to have might in the secondary row. And once you can open up weapon masteries when you have enough skill points, go ahead and open up weapon mastery, but just focus on might. Ice is a might based power, so the higher the might, the more damage you're going to do. Now, as far as mods go, first we're going to talk about the white mods from Home Turf. In your weapon, you're going to use Blast Adapter. In your neck, you're going to use Escalating Might. In your back, you're going to use Berserker, although sometimes I like Violent Breakout, so that's up to you. In your chest, make sure you use Core Strength. On your feet, you're going to use Deadly Block, and in your hands, you're going to use Max Damage. As far as your color mods go, so that you can get your bonuses, the head, you're going to put straight up Might. In the back, Might, and you'll get the affinity bonus, as you can see there. And in your chest, you're going to use Might again. As you can see, I opted to go with straight Might. I would go with Might 8, but like I said, this is on test server to show you what you would be doing in this situation. But you don't need 2.5% critical weapon attack chance, because Ice doesn't use their weapon to deal its damage through its AM. So you're going to go ahead and bypass that and just get the straight up Might and bypass the socket affinity bonus. You're going to do that for the headpiece, and you're going to do that for the chest piece. As far as legs go, you're going to use Dominance and Might, because you do want critical ability attack chance, which the socket affinity bonus grants you. On both of the rings, you're going to go with straight Might, as well as your feet, your waist, your hands, and then on your shoulder, you're going to want the socket affinity bonus as well, and you're going to go with Resto and Might, only because we're really using, since we're going with Dom over here, and Resto over here, which this could be health, and this could be, power. But I'm going with Dom and Resto since we're using a shield in our loadout, just to give us, a little bit more damage absorption on the shields. And that's it for your mods and your skill points. That's just straight might with Ice. That's all you got to do. Oh yeah, and in your utility bag, you're gonna want to have the trinket that buffs your precision and your might. Another great one to have in there is Orbital Strike and Supply Drop. And since I'm on test server, I'm running back up on my 4th slot. But you can go ahead and put Boo in there, because that's also buff to your might, and that'll help you increase your numbers. But remember, don't overwrite one with the other. If you're using the trinket for your buff, let that one come off cooldown before you pop Boo, because if you use them both at the same time, you'll only get one of the buff. They don't stack. So yeah, that's what you'll be using in your utility belt. And now what you all been waiting for, the rotation. So first, I'm going to go ahead and go through all the powers real slow, but you're going to clip them all together when you do your rotation, as you'll see me do later on. But first, I want you to see all the animations for all the powers, so you understand what's going on and how you're going through the actual rotation. So we're going to hit Wintry Tempest powers number 1, 2, 3, and then number 6 in order, and so you can see the actual animations. Let's go ahead and do that. And that's the shield. Alright, so those are the first four powers you're gonna pop as soon as you get into combat. After that, you saw how the time that it took to cool down. Well, in that time you're gonna be able to spam Arctic Gust 4 times. Alright, let's see it all clipped in slow motion. Alright, now for the full rotation. This time you're going to see I'm going to include the trinket within the rotation so I can go ahead and get more damage in. Here we go. Clip all my powers together at the beginning. Spam 4 Arctic Gust. That's the third one. By the time the fourth one comes off, you should have these 3 ready. As you can see, reflection is still off cooldown, but it should be ready by the time the second rotation of Wintry Tempest should come around. There it is. Now, as far as where you want to be standing, you kind of always want to have your back to the boss. This is a very mobile power. You can move while doing Arctic Gust, while doing massive damage, as you can see. Look at all the crits coming off of there. When you have reflection on and you're just on a group of ads, you want to be right in their face. Make sure you get massive damage. Now, if you're on a boss, you may want to be about mid-range. Still does damage, but Arctic Gust has a pretty good range, so you could still be at a safe distance. See what I mean? While still applying massive pressure under Ice's fury of fucking damage. As far as the approach, when you approach a group of ads or you approach the boss, remember, whatever weapon you have can lunge, most likely. Well, it can lunge, but what you're going to do is you're going to try to clip that lunge where you want to land with the beginning of your rotation. So you're going to want to lunge at them, but you don't want to end up right in their face unless you're ready to pop a reflection. But if it's if it's ads, that's basically what you want to do. That way you don't have to, just run up on the target. Use that lunge to get close to them first. As long as the tank's got aggro, you should be fine to move around and deal your damage. Now, if it's like a boss or something and you want to, lunge at them, but to get to them quick, but stay around this distance, well, within the lunge, just pop your powers right around here, and that's when you go ahead and start your rotation. I'll go ahead and show you that now. Messed that up. Let's go ahead and try that again. This time I'll just show you a reflection, because it works with everything really, except Arctic Gust. See how I stopped halfway? All you had to do is clip a power and you stop halfway. Let me show you that again. Just depends on how quick you are. Also, if you're already within range and you want to go ahead and tap range to get an extra hit in there before you go ahead and start your rotation, that's fine too. It's just another way to go ahead and get a little bit of extra damage. See? Alright. That's the rotation, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about the Supercharge, Ice Elemental, and when you're going to use it. Alright, so Ice Elemental is a Supercharge. It's 50% Supercharge. As you can see, my meter right now in orange is 100% full. So I'm going to show you the first Supercharge to show you what the powers are within the tray and how to go back. and then I'll show you the second supercharge within the rotation and when you're going to use it. So let's go ahead and pop the supercharge. That's your ice elemental form. As you can see, we have the little ice elemental thing that comes out and does some AoE, some damage, and we're also using bitter winds within that loadout, and then we use power number 3 to come back. Snow Devil, that's what it's called. There we go. So when you come back, you can see you have a little bit more damage on you, and your crits are insane. Remember, once you're in ice elemental form, if you're fighting a boss, you have to make a conscious decision whether or not you want to go ahead and pop those 2 powers before switching back to get your crits, because you can draw aggro to you and you can't do no damage if you're dead. So just test it out, try it for yourself, see what works for you, and it's better to have them than to not. If you gotta just pop it and go back, pop it and go back. Keep your crits up, keep doing some insane damage with ice. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at when you're going to use it. So plain and simple, you want to use ice elemental in your supercharge. 1, when it's ready. 2, you're going to want to have a good time to do it when you're facing a big group of ads and you can get a lot of damage in, or you're within the boss fight and you can do and you're clear to do some damage. So what you want to go ahead and do is, while you're popping all your powers and going through your rotation, what I would do is go through powers 1, 2, 3, and 6. Once you clip reflection, power number 6, go ahead and clip your supply drop. Then within the supply drop, go ahead and clip the ice elemental. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now and show you what I'm talking about. Go ahead and Snow Devil, Bitter Winds, come back, start Arctic Gust. Then just keep going through your rotation. You can sneak that in there whenever you want, but that's basically what you're going to do. You can choose whether or not you want to keep Snow Devil and or Bitter Winds, or just pop one of them. It just depends on the damage, the situation. That's up to you. Like I said, better to have them than to not. So if you want to go ahead and pop a supply drop or a trinket or anything else, that's how basically you're going to do it. Just go through your regular rotation and clip it in within the actual rotation. Let's do some damage. As you can see, ice does great damage, so if you pick this power, it's an easy power to use. It's an easy power to understand the game with. It does great in PvP, it does great in PvE, so you can get real far with it, and its alternate role is the tank stance within the power. So it has high defense, great shields. You couldn't really ask more for a more balanced power with just great DPS numbers. Alright everybody, I want to thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you like what you saw. If you master the things in these videos, you'll be a master of ice powers in DCUO. So just keep practicing and stay with it. MadRabbit out. Peace.